Well, good afternoon, everybody. Tuesday afternoon. Darren Saul here, your host of Playing with Perspective, the Suspended Animation Podcast, episode 123. And I have the magnificent Clayton Navarro here with me. How you doing, Clayton?
Very well. How are you?
Very well. I'm excited.
Yeah.
Clayton's got lots of interesting hobbies, side hustles, businesses, philosophies to share with us today. So it's going to be a fascinating discussion. And in particular, we're going to be talking about building a catch deck with habits and also the power of virtual assistants, which Clayton is very passionate about. So everybody who doesn't know Clayton is a human who is obsessed with learning and growing. He has some pretty audacious goals with many things that he is implementing at once. Sounds like me. Clayton is the director of his own company, VA World Outsourcing. He's developing an online self-defense course and is also in the process of starting a YouTube channel. So Clayton Navarro, welcome to the show. How you doing, man?
Thank you. I'm great. I'm excited to be here. This is exciting.
Well done. So tell us a bit about you. I mean, like we've only just connected, so I just kind of love to hear more about your background, your story. Just give us a bit of a snapshot into who Clayton is up till now.
Okay, a snapshot into who I was. I grew up in Sydney, Western Sydney, down in Blacktown, and had a great little childhood. Once I turned 21, the company I was with, well, I was in sales, and they said, Clay, you should go to Melbourne and start an office for us. And I thought, why not? So 3 weeks later, I was in Melbourne in a 2-bedroom apartment with 6 people.
Wow.
Yeah, that was fun. So I was given the blow-up mattress in the living room.
Wow.
Then after that, I ended up working for my father because I found that what I was selling wasn't good. I love sales and I'm passionate about sales, but what I was selling was a mobile phone plan.
Okay.
After that, I worked for my father's cleaning company, and then 2 years after that, I realized it's not fun working for family. So anyone who's done working for family, well done. And if you're still doing
it. Everybody's still talking? Yep.
Yeah. But then I moved out, did on my own, and had my virtual assistant come to me. Now we have a virtual assistant business.
Awesome. So kind of that's where the virtual assistants awareness came from. You had your own virtual assistant way back, and then that sparked the interest in that line of work.
Yeah. I guess personally, I've always been interested in self-growth and personal growth, and I've always loved sports and martial arts as well.
Wow, man, you've done it all. So let's chat about, first of all, let's chat about the VA stuff. I mean, what are you so passionate about with regards to that industry of virtual assistants? Because I'm fascinated by it as well. And there's more and more talk about it these days. So what made you think, oh, wow, that's something in that?
I think it was what it can give you was really the most amazing thing. So when I had my first virtual assistant years ago now, it was mind-blowing to me when I was working for my father's cleaning company that I could go to a quote, take a few photos, send these photos to someone in the Philippines and have the quote in the client's inbox before I made it home.
Wow.
And I'm a sucker for efficiencies, and I love doing things quickly and properly. That basically sold me.
Wow. I mean, I'm the same. Like, I'm a sucker for efficiency, and I cannot stand, what's the word? God, I can't even think of the word. You know, when things aren't done properly, what's the word they use? Incompetence.
Oh gosh, good word.
Incompetence. But again, that's so subjective. But I mean, when you're working with a VA, there's always going to be a time, you know, a little bit of a timeline where you have to train them the way you want things done, the way you think, you know, your language. Is that true? Or I mean, how quickly do they adapt?
So that was one of the other things that we found. So when I first used my first virtual assistant, it took 3 to 5 months before they were competent in their role.
Right, 3 to 5 months.
And the longest I've heard, I was speaking to someone who's had virtual assistants, they said for about 15 years. I was still in nappies. I'm kidding. But they said it took them 8 months to train their first virtual assistant, and it's just a long time. What we did, which was really cool, was we've put in a lot of training and implementation into our business, which has reduced it down to less than a month before the person's actually productive in the company that they move into.
Right. And so tell us, how did you do that? What have you got a lot of online training developed? How did you get to streamline it to such a short period of time?
Yeah, a lot of virtual assistants just need a little bit of repetition. So instead of having to sit with the owner, the boss, whatever, you're trying to get a virtual assistant to save yourself time. Instead of doing all that, we've basically, when we go into a client's business, we will create videos, documentation, and actual talking through how to do step by step of every step. And instead of going, sorry, Miss Paul or John or Darren, who have I done this right? It's check the video and make sure it's the same as the video. It's great. Plus, we have a lot of back-end support with our higher up team that will basically watch over the virtual assistant's virtual shoulders to make sure that everything is done correctly.
Gotcha. So you kind of put all these training systems in place. And nowadays with video technology like Zoom and Loom and all those other products, you can do it so easily. Whereas years ago, you couldn't really automate that so well. It's just done. That's why it took so long to train people. But now I suppose you have to just do it once, record it. And if they get used to doing it that way and they know the way you like it, there's a training manual to look at all the time, and there's no reason why it's not done that way.
Yeah. Exactly. It's amazing.
And so a lot of your VAs are overseas?
All the VAs are overseas. Currently, at this point in time, I'm the only person that works for the company in Australia.
Wow. And are they all over the world or only one place?
Right now, we're focusing on the Philippines. The main reason for that is, one, their work ethic is absolutely second to none, in my opinion. But the other thing is their time difference isn't that far from Australia. So if you're a person in Perth, you're the same time as the Philippines.
Yeah, sure. And their English is really good as well. English in the Philippines is exceptional. Yeah,
it's great. You don't want to get a Fijian to be doing it because it's hard to understand. No offense, Fijians.
Awesome, man. And so how long have you been running with this company, VA World Outsourcing?
It's the 10th of November right now, so we are 9 days away from our 1 year anniversary.
Hey, well done.
Yes.
Well done.
So excited.
And I mean, it was a pretty tough thing to do in this period of, of COVID. Did that period actually help you guys, or was it tough to really get deals across the line and get people to?
I didn't feel much of an impact throughout the majority of COVID. At the start, everyone kind of just locked their money up and was like not spending, not even sure what's going to happen. There was a lot of uncertainty. Once that uncertainty left, everything was kind of okay. The target market shifted a little bit, but once we shifted and made the right moves in that, it was okay.
Okay, that's interesting. Tell us about that. I mean, where did the target market shift from to?
So we were initially going towards people who were in office spaces trying to support real estates in offices, legal people in offices, even the travel agencies. And all of a sudden they went splat, we're all working from home. And we basically had to change from supporting offices to supporting smaller teams or tradies and things like that. People that already are working from home.
And a lot of solopreneurs, I'm assuming. Loads of solopreneurs love VAs.
They do.
Me included, absolutely.
We'll get you one soon, don't worry.
All right, well, you're going to convert me. I actually use a couple of freelancers for my photo work, and they've been absolutely brilliant. Like, saved me so much time, and they're trained up really quickly. And now with the technology, as we said, we can pretty much show everybody exactly what we want, and it's saved me so much time and energy. It's been sensational.
Yeah, it's just ridiculously. I think that's one of the main things. You get your time back. You can spend time with your family, and it doesn't cost a huge amount.
That's right.
For my personally, because I've worked so closely with my virtual assistant, it feels like I have Jarvis. It feels like I'm Iron Man, and I've just got this little person in my ear that will listen to me, and we work together really well.
And how do you communicate with your VA? Just through messaging, email? Is there a platform? Anything particular?
Everything, I guess. So the main message we use is Click, which is used on Zoho.
Uh-huh.
If not, it's Skype. A lot of the time we're using phone calls. We're doing a lot of calls, or I'll send her voice notes.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
Just because a lot of my great ideas come while I'm driving, and I just go quick
me
voices.
too. Me too. I actually go out for a drive on purpose because I know I'm going to come back with some ideas. I do it on purpose.
I love that.
Yep.
It's like the new shower thing, because
Yep.
now showering people listen to music. It's like, no,
That's
we'll
right.
go for a drive.
I can't sit in the shower for an hour. You know, my water bill is going to be through the roof, so I have to go for a drive instead.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do it on purpose because it's so true. They say when the subconscious mind is engaged, that's when you're not thinking about all those other things that you're thinking of. That's when all the magic and those great ideas come to you.
Yeah. So I've found it extremely powerful just to send a voice note.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, okay. Yeah. And even that, even that saved time, just voice notes. Years ago, you couldn't do that. Yeah. So typing everything.
Oh,
Amazing
yes.
how technology has evolved.
We've got a client coming on board at the moment, and he goes, I have about 400 hours worth of voice notes. I need someone to translate them.
Oh my God. Wow.
And he's got an app that does it, but it doesn't obviously do it as well as someone listening to it.
Right. Nice. And your VAs, do they specialize in any particular line of work, or can you find VAs that can do anything that anybody wants?
So the short answer is anything that can be done with internet and a computer or a laptop, we can do, simply because we hire to the client's needs.
Okay.
So we've got people in the digital marketing agencies. We've got people who specialize in recruitment. We basically hire to whatever the client wants.
Okay, fantastic, sensational. And your hiring, I mean, how does that work? Do you hire through internet technology as well, or do you go over there once a year? And
Well, actually, I just came back from Philippines now, kidding. Basically, we have a full-time recruiter on the team, and she does similar to what you would do in any other country. She scans Indeed, LinkedIn, fill jobs online, and every other platform that you have out there, and she goes and finds them. Instead of having an interview over a desk, we just do it similar to this over Zoom, and
absolutely,
it's all the same.
Yep, indeed. I mean, these days technology is incredible. It's even easier.
Yeah.
Well done. So going from strength to strength. And if people want to find out about your VA company, what's the website?
It's VA World Outsourcing.
VA World Outsourcing.
.com. .com.
Perfect.
No .au.
Perfect. Well done, mate. That's fantastic. I look forward to hearing more about how the VA outsourcing world has evolved, and hearing about how your business grows.
Join the mailing list, and you will.
A salesman through and through. But I kind of want to chat a little bit about some of the other stuff you do as well, because it's molded who you are, and particularly your philosophy around life. And so one of the things that we've put in the subject of this podcast episode is building a catch deck. So explain to us what a catch deck is and how that fits into your life's philosophy.
Awesome. This is super exciting. So a catch deck, I basically stole it from when I was working in the construction industry, which I didn't mention in my first thing. I used to work in construction as well.
Right.
And basically what they would do, the carpenters would, or anyone who was working at a height, would basically build a temporary deck below them so that when they fell, they wouldn't fall 10 stories, they'd fall maybe one and not die.
It's like the abseilers that, the rock climbers, when they go climbing, they put those little things in as they go. So when they fall, they only fall to the next one, not all the way down.
Exactly. And it's just stopping yourself from going down too far when it comes to your life, your habits, and everything like that. So I decided to implement that in with my habits. And I actually realized it by accident. I was having a pretty average week, and I was just on the phone to a friend, talking to him on my way home from work. And the next thing I knew, I was at the gym. I thought I was going home, but my habits had been instilled in me. Once I finish work, I go to the gym.
Gotcha. Yeah,
and I thought, well, I'm here. I've got
automatic pilot. It's like
and just like your basal ganglia turns on, and just basically, which is a little part in your brain that automates your processes. And I was there. I was like, oh, I guess I may as well work out. Got out of it, and I was feeling amazing. It was great.
Wow. And
So
so, yeah. So tell us how you've implemented catch decks in some other areas of your life.
the other areas would be probably continuously learning, and the way I do that is just putting small amounts of reading into my day, or making sure that it's super easy. I found reducing reducing resistance is huge.
Yep.
So I've actually got a book right next to me on my desk. I have a book in my car. I even have a book on my phone that I've downloaded as a PDF.
Wow.
So I have no excuse.
All the same book.
No. They're all different. So
Different books, right.
when I'm reading books, I allow myself to read in 3 different categories. One is self-help of some sort, mindset, something like that.
Yep.
The other would be business or learning in some sort. And the other is just fun, fantasy, anything that's not heavy.
Love it.
Yeah. So I have 3 books, and I have no excuse to not hit my goals of reading at least an hour a day.
I love it. I mean, that's so important. Even just the fact that you have the awareness to realize that, all of us human beings find excuses for doing things we don't want to do, or we decide, we get sidetracked. But you say, no, I'm going to build in these rituals and these opportunities and these tools so that I have no excuse. And that's, something that's really powerful, because, that can really take you from A to B in terms of your growth. And there's just no excuse for saying, oh, sorry, I didn't get to it today, or something else, hijacked my day.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it was funny, the point that I realized I'd actually made it, like done the habit, was when I habitually reached for a book instead of my phone. I went, grabbed my book and opened it. I went, whoa, hang on. Other little things that I do is stuff like writing down what I'm grateful for every day. I make sure every day I write 5 things I'm grateful for, and I try and make them different. And if it's not different, I try and make it a different reason why I'm grateful for it. So sometimes I'll be grateful for food because it replenishes my body after exercising. Yep. Sometimes I'm grateful for food because it tastes good.
Yeah, and I was just hungry. Yeah. Well done. All right, I love it. That's fantastic. And now, obviously, you come from, you've got a bit of an Eastern philosophy, spiritual way of thinking. I can probably tell, and that might have come from some of your meditation and your martial arts background. Is that right?
Yeah. Well, yes and no, actually. It's really interesting. So the first book I ever read was in the self-help philosophy kind of side of things was The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
It's like the title. It's like, hang on, what? A monk who sold his Ferrari?
Yeah. I like it.
Loved it. And it kind of gave me a good stepping stone. But you're right. I've done martial arts since I was 7 years old.
Yep.
And that is, I highly recommend. I think pretty much anybody should do some kind of martial art or some kind of sport where it does develop the self. It builds you up to be a more confident human.
Yeah.
I love it. I think it's great. Meditation, I first got introduced to it from my mother when I was quite young. She just taught me how to listen to my breath and scan my body. I think the most intense meditation I've ever done is something called Vipassana. Have you heard of Vipassana?
I have heard of Vipassana. Is that when they go off for like 12 days and don't talk? And I've heard of that. That's like really intense.
Yeah.
People break down and start crying, and because it's just, they can't, like, they're totally confronted with themselves, and that's it.
Yeah, imagine not talking to anyone but yourself inside your head for 10, 12 days.
That's crazy.
It's absolutely mental. So I went and did that, and a lot of people go to me, oh, I don't think I could not talk to anyone for 10 days. I'm like, no, not talking is the easy part. Talking to yourself is the hard part.
Yeah, exactly. Dealing with what's inside.
Yeah. But it's amazing. And that's probably another thing I would recommend anybody do. And the great thing about that is there's centers that do it completely free. It's completely donation based. So if you like it, chuck them money. If you don't. And I tested it. I thought this will be fun to test, because some people are like, donate. It's free, but donate. But this place, it was, you finish the course. They had a small little booth in the corner of the main eating hall that you are there.
Yeah.
And they didn't even ask. Wow. So I walked away left it, and I took a little piece of paper to pay later, but I just left it and wanted to see. After a month, they hadn't even contacted me. It was amazing. So I thought, you know what, this is genuine. And I now pledged a certain amount of money every month to actually pay because of what it gave me. I was in tears. I was one of those people that were in tears.
Oh my God. And where did you actually do that? Where was the premises where you did that?
So it was in Healesville in Victoria. Okay. Funnily enough, I was having dinner with my to-be girlfriend at the time. Yep. And I sent a message to my virtual assistant and said, hey, I'm looking for a place to go and just like do this Vipassana meditation. Can you find one for me? Yeah. I want to do it. It was almost a year ago, actually. I want to do it before December. Yeah. And I got a call from her at about 8 o'clock at night while we're at dinner. I went, well, someone's like, if you're calling at 8 o'clock at night, it's probably important. So I answered, and she goes, there's one in 2 days in Victoria. Do you want to go? And I was in Sydney at the time. I went, sure, let's go.
Wow.
So up and left. And yeah, it was crazy. It was amazing.
Awesome. And you've done it only once?
Only once so far. I want to go back and do a 30-day meditate, but I have to go and volunteer my time first before I'm allowed 30 days.
And is that 30 days again with no talking to anybody?
Correct. I'll have to come out and do speech therapy. How do I say words again?
That's crazy. Well done. And what type of martial arts have you practiced?
My main martial art that I've done is Taekwondo, which it's really called Hwarang Do. Oh, yeah. Fun fact for anyone, Hwarang Do translates to the way of the flowering warrior.
Okay. That's Taekwondo. That's Chinese or Taiwanese martial art?
Korean.
Korean.
Yes. It's Korean, and it's a lot of kicks, a lot of strikes. It's very fast. It's probably the fastest martial art you'll come across. Wow. Back in my heavy training days, when I was training 6-7 days a week, I would gloat that my feet were faster than most people's hands. Wow. So a boxer would come up to me and I'd be like, "Pow!" But yeah. Wow. That's my main one. I've done that one for the longest of time, and I've always come back to that one. Other martial arts I've done is Kobudo, which that one originated in Okinawa. So have you seen or heard of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles?
Yes, of course. Yep.
Yeah. So those guys, Donatello, those weapons came from Kobudo in Okinawa. Yep. They were actually what's called farming equipment. So the bow staff is actually what they use to carry water and pails over their shoulders. Amazing. The size that Raphael used, they were tuning forks. The nunchucks were actually created to chuck wheat. So they're not weapons, they're just farming tools.
Amazing.
Obviously the katana is a weapon, but
I've always been fascinated by Japanese jiu-jitsu, but it's not easy to learn that, to study that much more. Nowadays there's a lot of Brazilian jiu-jitsu around.
Yeah.
So much Japanese jiu-jitsu, which is a bit different.
I think that's called Kensedo. I could be wrong, but I've done Kensedo before, a small amount of Kensedo, and that is interesting.
Pretty cool. Like
just
I love all the locks and all that kind of stuff. It's really
interesting. Yeah, I was lucky to get the Korean version of that when I did Hapkido, which is all about locks.
Oh, really? Awesome. I love that.
Yeah. So I got the best of both worlds from Korea. The only thing I haven't done from Korea is, I think, Aikido. But I'll get there. Is it Korean? I don't even know.
Is it Aikido? I thought Aikido was Japanese.
It could be. That's possible. Very possible.
Steven Seagal was the one who brought Aikido to the world.
Yes.
Yeah. I love it. Yeah. Fantastic. I love it. So cool. I've always loved that. And so how do you think martial arts and meditation has helped you in life and in business practicing?
Ooh, what an interesting question. How has it helped me in life and business? I guess similar to what I said before, knowing yourself, having a complete understanding of who you are. I was watching a video recently where it said that if you ever try and get into a fight with someone in a bar and they don't react, run. Because the martial artist or the person who practices meditation is so calm within themselves that they don't need to have a reaction to whatever the outside external forces are.
So in other words, they're trained, get the hell out of there.
Yeah. So the one that kind of gets up and starts trying to get his stance ready is you might have a chance.
Up one impulse is just like overcompensating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I would say it's stillness. It's funny actually when people say, what does meditation give you? It's sometimes what does motivation not give you or take away from you? It didn't give me much, but what I lost from it was anger, um,
I like that.
greed, just all these other things. You get rid of so many
Yeah.
negative emotions from your life. I wake up most days and I end the day going, I would have been okay to die today. Like that,
Amazing.
I like to think with the end in mind. So
I like
that's
that.
kind of how I created my purpose and my missions in my life as well. Like, what do I want my legacy and philosophy to be at the end of my life?
Nice. I like that too. It's nice to kind of think back and say, would you be happy with what you're doing right now? And are you on the right path? And if it's yes, then great, keep going.
Definitely. To answer your question though, how it's helped in business, it doesn't allow me to get emotional about the things that happen. If we lose a client, which we haven't yet, touch wood, if a client says no, or if we put a proposal out and they go, no, you're too expensive for some reason or whatever, you assess the situation without getting emotional about it. It's helped a lot in that. I would say that through my research of talking to people, it's also given me a nice energy, aura, whatever you want to call it, where people kind of go, after they've met me, they go, you know what, I just really enjoy chatting to you. And I'm not trying to use that to gloat. It's just what I've been told.
I can sense that. I think it's also, it really boils down to, again, that sense of self and that sense of calm, because you're not overcompensating. You don't need to react. You're just comfortable in your own skin, and people can sense that. And you don't, you can just you can be in the moment when you're talking to people and interacting with people. I think a lot of people, that's what probably people pick up.
Yeah, complete presence. I listened to a little thing a few months ago that basically said, if you're anxious, you're thinking about the future. If you're depressed, you're thinking about the past. So just come to the present and be yourself. Yeah, maybe I would say the other thing that it probably wasn't only martial arts and meditation, but just the efficiencies and getting rid of the fluff. Being able to focus wholly on what will get me there the fastest and the most efficient way. Similar to if someone's going to attack me in Taekwondo, I don't want to block and throw a whole bunch of punches that aren't going to work. I want to block and throw.
And exude too much energy for nothing.
Exactly. I actually, funnily enough that you said that, exuding too much energy, I learned that probably about 10 years ago now. We were practicing, I was part of the demonstration team, the Australian demonstration team for this club. And we were training to jump over some mats just to make sure our jump height was right. And it occurred to me that no matter how high the mat was, it could have been knee height, waist height, shoulder height, I would just clear it every time. And I went, oh, hang on, I can jump this much higher, but I'm only doing this much. And it's exactly what you said, not exuding too much energy. It's just the perfect amount of energy to achieve the result.
Just enough. I love that. That's really cool. Very cool. And so with your meditation, how many times a day do you meditate and for how long?
Right now, in the month of November, I got a little bit bored and decided for every day in November, 2 hours a day. It doesn't matter if it's 4 half-an-hour sessions or 1 2-hour session.
Right, okay.
But so far I've missed half an hour accidentally, and I pushed that half an hour over into the next morning, but 2 hours a day. Outside of November, it's about an hour a day.
An hour a day. Wow. If I sit down to meditate for, like I've done meditation courses before and I loved it, but more often than none, I used to fall asleep. It was terrible. So if I did that for an hour, I'd definitely fall asleep.
Yeah,
I'd like to learn how to do it properly.
It is tricky. It's tricky. I guess the trick to it, which is probably not what you want to hear, is you just have to do it.
It's practice. It's practice, just like anything else.
It is. And what you find is once your mind gets through all the fluff of the day or all the generic thoughts that are in the top of your head, that's when you can get deeper into what is actually inside you.
Nice. And so for people that want to take up meditation, would you say like 20 minutes in the morning, 20 minutes in the afternoon is a great start, or just once a day?
Yeah, I would say just once a day at least. Find yourself a quiet place, 15, 20 minutes.
Yep.
And probably the best thing to do is don't remind yourself if your mind wanders. Your mind will wander 100%.
That's the point. Yeah.
Yeah. So once you find your mind wandering, come back and bring your mind back to whatever you're trying to focus on. So when I meditate, I either focus on my breath or the sensations in my body.
Yep.
So I'll be sitting there and I go, ooh, I just felt my pulse in a certain area of my body. So you focus on that and you just allow yourself to come deeper with that. But yeah, like I'm pretty sure I did a meditation sometime a few months ago and I played a whole movie in my head before I realized I was like, oh wait, I'm meant to be meditating.
Wow.
So it does happen.
Amazing. That's great. And I mean, what do you say about meditation apps like with music and guided meditations and things like that?
I couldn't tell you. I haven't tried it.
Okay.
So I'm not entirely sure if they work or not, but I would assume they're better than nothing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would say at least start with that and then see if you can eventually move out of it, because meditation is just having a focused mind. Prayer is a form of meditation.
Yeah.
So
You've convinced me. I'm going to start meditating again. I want to try and master this,
I'm
particularly
going to send you
in this modern world. You know, the pace of the world is getting faster and faster. It's crazier and crazier. We have less and less time, more and more stress. I think meditation is so important. So I'm going to try and get back into it.
It's definitely important. And anyone who does decide to jump back into it, I would say measure yourself in the sense of not how well you're meditating, but what effects is it having on your life.
Mm-hmm.
Measure your happiness, measure your decision-making processes, and just figure out those little things. Because what a lot of people tend to do, and what I did myself, was you sit there and you're like, you don't feel it. You don't feel the changes or the benefits that come from it. And then once you stop doing it a month later, you go, why am I upset? Why am I agitated?
Yeah, exactly.
So if you keep a little bit of a diary or a log, you'll be able to have a better idea of what benefits you're getting from it.
Well done. I love it. So all the audience out there, you've heard it from Clayton. Meditation, start. I'm going to do it myself.
Fantastic. That's exciting.
Now, I notice that you are setting up your own online self-defense course. Is that right? Tell us a bit about that.
I'll start you off a little bit further back with my mission. So I have 3 missions in the world, and the first one is to help humans be more confident, especially in the Western world.
Nice.
There's a lot of people that just don't have confidence, and I feel like it's needed.
Yep.
The second is helping people communicate a message better. There's a lot of people that everyone knows how to talk, but can you actually get a message across to someone that will listen to you? The last one is helping people work with their inner demons, and I'm sure you can find correlations in my life with what's happened. But this self-defense course basically came around because I wanted to figure out the best way to impact the most people and help them with their confidence. And martial arts being part of my life, I went, a lot of people are teaching this wrong. Let me help get rid of the fluff again, getting rid of all the fluff, and teach what's right.
Nice.
Just to go on a little small tangent, that miscongeniality, the whole solar plexus in step, nose, groin, it doesn't work. It's silly.
Oh, really?
But most people think, oh, I'm going to do that. That's all I've watched. It's going to work. Sandra Bullock, I love Sandra Bullock, but she's got to know what she's talking about, right? No, if you just think simply, if you want to try and stomp on someone's foot, all that person has to do is lift you off the ground and you can't stomp anymore.
That's right.
And usually if someone grabs you from behind, they're probably a bigger person than you.
Yeah.
Little things like that.
It's got to be practical.
Exactly. It's just applicable, practical self-defense that you'll learn. It's an 8-week course, and we're going to put it out to the public in probably about 2-3 months.
Wow. And it's going to be all online, is it?
Completely online. So it's its own little package. Once someone buys it, they've got their own platform and they learn it online. Obviously, we're trying not to be one of those mech dojos that are promising you a certificate with a black belt at the end of it. When I was doing the market research for this, the amount of places that go, buy your black belt online,
Oh,
10-week course or 3-month course.
how can you
It's
have a black
impossible.
belt in 10 weeks? It's insane.
Yeah, it's impossible. It's silly. The only belt you should be offered online is a white belt.
That's right. Absolutely. Crazy.
But we're not promising any of that. It's really just we want people to feel safer in the world, that we can't stop. And unfortunately, we can't stop all the violence that happens. So we may as well work on the other side of it.
Definitely. And as you say,
Yeah.
it increases people's self-confidence, and that has trickle and knock-on effects into everything they do in life and business as well.
Yeah, definitely.
And is it going to be only you instructing, or do you have other people instructing on the videos?
My brother as well.
Okay.
So he's 3 or 4 years younger than me, and he's been doing martial arts almost as long as me as well. So we both have this driving passion to just help people in the world in that way.
Well done.
It's super exciting. What was I going to say about that? We're very lucky. So the hardest part about what we're doing right now is, to us, things are very simple. Like I said, we've been doing it. I've done 18 years. He's probably at 12, 13 years.
Yeah.
And the hardest part is, if someone was to do something to me, I'll go, oh yeah, you just do that, whatever the movement is. And then our cameraman, who doesn't know any martial art at all, he goes, that doesn't make sense to me. What did you do? So we have to break it all the way back down. And we're actually learning that a lot of the techniques we're teaching are actually too advanced for a beginner that's only taking an 8-week course.
Gotcha. You have to really break down the movements every step of the way in the body mechanics.
Yeah, which is a lot of fun. I'm really enjoying it. But it's also teaching me that the basics aren't as applicable if you haven't practiced. And we're basically trying to teach this to people that have never practiced before.
Yeah, perfect. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm looking forward to checking that out. I might have to have a look at that myself.
Check it out. It's called the Martial Experience.
Is that online already, or?
We've put it on Facebook and Instagram.
Okay.
The website will probably go live mid-December. And we'll start promoting it around then as well. So you can get a cute little Christmas present or something like that.
Nice. Well done. And is that the YouTube channel that you're starting, or is that something for something else?
No, the YouTube channel is helping people with their inner demons. So similar to a lot of what we've spoken about here, it's building catch decks, getting good habits, helping people with their procrastination, and just little things like that. Just things that have helped me in my life that I can say, this works, this is how I did it, go have fun, try.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, that's hopefully going to tick at least 2 of my boxes when it comes to my missions in my life.
Well done, man. You're a busy guy.
I got virtual assistants to look after most of it.
I love it. Fantastic, Clayton. Well done. So if people want to get in touch with you, generally, do you have one place where people can find all these things you do, or are they different websites for different things?
They're all different. That's a really good idea, though. I should have one place.
You should have one little landing page or something where they can find bang, 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 bang.
The Clayton page. I like
Clayton
that.
page. There you go.
Done. I'm going to create one of those.
Actually, there are a few apps that I can't remember the name of them, but there are a few apps that are quite famous that do exactly that. And you can, from one page, you can link to your website, all your social channels, a few podcasts, other things, all in one page.
Wow.
Yep. Check it out. There's a few different products on the market.
I'll have to check that out. But until then, LinkedIn, Clayton Navarro, Facebook, Clayton Navarro, the Martial Experience, if you want to, I'm obviously managing that, so you can reach out there, VA World, and if you can't find me, just look for the hair.
Well done. Well, Clayton, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show. You know, I love your energy. You're a deep thinker. You're spiritual. You know, and I could talk to you forever because I love those kind of people, because I've done a bit of that kind of work on myself years ago.
That's exciting.
So really appreciate your time. And for all the audience out there, I'm going to put all those links in the show notes for you, so you can click out and see what Clayton's been up to and enroll in some of his courses. Is there anything you'd like to leave us with today before we finish up?
Anything I'd like to leave you with? I would say...
words of wisdom by Clayton.
Practice something that you've heard in this and actually journal down. Like, make sure you guys measure what you're doing in your life, because if it's not measured, it can't be improved.
I like that. Makes sense. You don't measure, you don't even know where you're at. You don't know
Yeah.
if you're doing it well or you're not doing it so well, and how much more improvement there is to be made.
Yeah,
Yep.
definitely.
Well done. Well, Clayton, thank you so much, mate. Really appreciate it. Hope you have a
No
great
worries.
day. And to all the audience out there, thanks again for listening. We'll be back very, very soon for another episode. And bye for now. Thanks again,
Yeah.
Clayton.